what's up, D fam? Welcome back to the greatest Bi-City podcast in the world, the motherfucking Weekly D podcast. I'm your host, Danny G, and today we're joined by my incredible, super handsome, freshly shaved co-host, Kyle Austin.
My wife would tell me that I'm not freshly shaved. It's been a day, and she's like, "It's already bristly. It's already bristly."
Well, that's Kyle, and we also got our producer, our video editor, Mr. AOZ himself, aka the Uncultured Peppa Pig, Alan.
Damn, dude, you made me forget the fucking voice after you said that. Fuck. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm Peppa. How do you do?
Alan's been working on his
So
impressions
good.
of female voices.
It's getting better, honestly, every single day.
He is,
day
dude.
It's better.
I mean, his horror
God, David Krabs.
Me up that day.
Yeah.
Your
I just
horror
have
was
fucking
so
random
good
ones.
that I showed my fiance it, and she could not believe it was you. Like she thought you had dubbed it or something. So yeah, great time.
And then we made it a clip, and Daniel was like, "Damn, Alan, what did you do with your balls?" I sucked them in, and then I blew them back out.
Well,
now
anyways,
the car salesman story makes a little more sense now.
But anyways, we're done making fun of each other. Today is a very special podcast because Kyle's back finally.
I am back.
Got the boy back.
I've been in and out of
again.
episodes.
Huh? You missed like 2
episodes,
but really we missed like 4 episodes because we haven't recorded in like a month.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're back for a little while, and then we'll take a hiatus again.
Yeah, lots going on our end, actually, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I've officially announced this on the podcast yet, but for those who have been following the podcast for some time, the past couple of years, know that I love Texas, and it's where I'm from. I was born and raised in Houston, and I'm a very proud Houstonian. And I've been living in Kentucky, and we've been a Bi-City podcast for a very long time. And we will officially no longer be a Bi-City podcast because I will be moving back to Houston. I'll be heading home in November.
Finally, you're coming home.
Which is awesome, and it feels unreal, to be completely honest, because I've been just wanting it for like 5 years. I've been hungry for being home, and it's good, and I feel like it's a lot of stress with moving and getting everything kind of set up, but at the same time, like it was definitely time. I feel like we couldn't have picked a better moment. Like, even though I love Louisville and I'll always love this city. Because it helped me when I was at one of my lowest points. That it kept me alive in a lot of ways. And so I'll always have that, which is good. But I'm excited for the new journey, and with that new journey being around all my old friends again.
Yes, sir. So, how long ago did you move to Louisville? Because I don't even remember. It feels like you've lived there so fucking long at this point.
I moved to Louisville back. It was September 20th, like around that time of 2017.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I've been there since I've been here as so technically
years?
I guess I would consider myself a local here. I've lived here 5 years pretty much.
Dang.
Yep.
It's been a minute.
It has. I remember, and I don't know if this is too personal, but I remember moving here for the first time, and I was staying with some family friends, sleeping on an air mattress, ready to kind of start my life and kind of figure out where I was going, and not really knowing if, for a long time, if I was making the right decision, because it was a new state and a new place that I was really unfamiliar with. And I hadn't lived there I lived there for 3 years when I was younger, but outside of that, it was a new place. I didn't know anybody. People that I did know, really didn't want to reassociate. I don't know why. I was in elementary school, I guess, and they didn't really want to continue that, and that's fine. That's their prerogative at the end of the day. I reached out, I made my effort, but everybody's in different parts of their lives, so I don't really feel any type of way about it. But I try to do my best to make friends and stuff here, and I did, which was awesome. It took some time, but I've made some really good friends here, and I did end up having a life as like a Midwestern guy, who's from the South, but I just kind of became this person over time, and like I said, I can never thank this city enough for what it's like given me over time. And of course, my wife coming in, like, after like 2 years of being on my own.
Oh,
It's pretty
wow.
cool.
Yo,
Oh yeah.
so y'all were freshly, I mean, I don't know if this is too personal, but were y'all freshly married when you moved out there?
So we weren't married yet when I moved there. So it's a funny story, actually. I never told you, I didn't tell Yvonne until I got the job
Oh.
that I was moving to Kentucky. And at the time we were dating for like 4 years, kind of on and off. But more on than off, like as it went. But regardless, she supported me, and that's kind of like I knew at that point. I was like, she'll be up here before we even know it. And so a year went by, and originally the plan was go for 2 years, come back, do your job, get done, head home. And it just didn't really work out that way, like, because that's not how jobs work. That's not how careers work. You gotta earn your stripes, earn your time. And it took a lot of time. It took figuring out kind of where I was wanting to go and what I was wanting to do. And then of course, like 2 years later, popped the question of my now wife. We get married March. We've been married 3 years now officially. Almost 4.
Cheers to that, buddy. Cheers
Thank you,
to
sir.
that. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Feels good. I have an empty glass of water now, but it feels good because we went through some like fun times. But it was like my wife always says, like it was a we didn't have a honeymoon when we got married, but like this was our honeymoon because most people live close to their family, and they it doesn't, if they don't get a honeymoon, they don't really get a chance to like get away. And we got that chance. Like we actually got to live in a state that was 1,000 miles away, and we got to go and see a bunch of amazing places. Like we were close to like Cincinnati and like Washington D.C., Nashville, the Smoky Mountains. Like we got to go and visit a lot of Chicago, like so many cool like places, and discover new things together, and kind of really like learn to grow as like a couple rather than kind of having like family as like a distractor, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that that's like a bad thing, but it was a blessing,
I feel you on that. That's I'm in the process of getting married. I'm gonna get married at the end of the year. And going through like marriage prep and everything, just talking to people that I know that have been married. I always ask them that because like my parents, when they got married, they lived close to home, and there was a lot of turmoil at the beginning with like family, like both sides of the family not liking their spouse and whatnot. And like I think about it all the time, and I always tell Millennia, like my fiance, maybe we should move a little bit away. We don't have to move thousands of miles away, but she wants to go to school. So I told her, I was like, apply wherever you get in, that's where we'll go. Like even if it means leaving Houston for a little couple years, just to get that little separation. I firmly believe you need a little bit of separation from family to really bond and grow that relationship.
I agree. I think sometimes, like, as much as we rely on family, right, and as much as family is an important factor in healthy long-term relationships, like, you have to be able to separate it between like family and like your significant other. You need to be able to kind of be like, look, like somebody can have an opinion about somebody else. At this point, like, that's my significant other. Like, fuck with her, I'll cut you.
I feel you on that one. I feel you on that one.
You know what I mean? Like,
I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Like, you need to have a little bit of a gap. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Just enough. And like, I think it takes time too, because there's like a balance, because you don't want to be too far away where nobody remembers who you are at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, there's a point, and it's a sad point, and I hope you never get to it, but where people stop missing you, if that makes sense. Like you're gone for a period of time, and it was like the first time I felt that was a couple years ago, like when I came home for Christmas, like one year, and people were excited, but like I remember the first time I ever felt like, oh, they just don't really care that I'm here. Like they're so used to me being gone that they're just kind of like, oh well, he's like they kind of still see me as gone, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that was hard. That was hard. But you learn to adjust with that, and when you come back, that's when you make the effort of like being around.
Mhm.
It wasn't like, it's just hard when you live 1,000 miles away from everybody else to keep up with what's going on
Yeah.
in everyone else's lives. So like you kind of disappear in their eyes a little bit, but
Mhm.
I hope to go back and like rebuild some things. It'd be
Yeah.
nice.
No, I understand that too, because when I came from California, to Texas, like the cousins I grew up with and I saw every single day, every single weekend, like I didn't see them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I mean, you try to keep those relationships going. You try to, stay together, keep contact. But it
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately is a sad truth that when you're not there every day or often, like you're not a first thought anymore.
No.
Like you're just the afterburner. Like, oh shit, that's right, I got family over there. Or like you hit someone up
Yeah.
and they're like, oh shit, I haven't heard from you in a minute. But I mean, it's always nice to rekindle a little bit.
Oh, for
So,
sure.
so
I agree.
I'm sure you're beyond excited to come back. I mean, you
Definitely.
have your brother here, your parents here, your
I'm so
nephew.
excited.
Yeah,
Dude, I'm so excited to it's something you miss out on whenever you're like, again, far away. You miss out on like birthdays and big moments and things like that. And I did feel like I missed out on like a lot of my nieces and nephews' birthdays. And you miss out on like things where they get older and like they don't recognize you. You're just like, oh, that's that uncle that doesn't really come around. And it's not because I don't want to, it's just because that's just how it goes. Flights are expensive, kind of hard to drive 13 hours to go see everybody for a weekend and come back.
and
Can't
come
do that.
back. Yeah,
It's not feasible, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of the way it goes. But I'm so excited to be around my family again and really get to rekindle my relationship with my brother and be around. And that's my goal.
Yeah.
Life is short at the end of the day. If there's one thing I've learned with getting older, is that it's so, how would I put it? It can be done in a flash. Like it can all be over just like that. Like at the snap of a finger, you just make one wrong decision when you're driving, or you're just in your your bathroom and you have a brain aneurysm. Like anything can happen. Anything can happen at any time.
You're not kidding. I had a near-death experience this weekend, actually.
Really?
You're talking about that? Yeah.
When the
what happened?
Don't you?
Me and Nolia went out clubbing, and we went to go dance outside because I fucking have 2 left feet, right? So I'm trying to practice and be half decent at my wedding. I don't want to embarrass her because she's a dancer. Like she grew up dancing. Like she danced professionally for a little while, and I have 2 left feet, right? So we're starting to go out to like different dance classes and like different clubs just so I can start getting the rhythm, not be as stiff. And well, we were having such a fun time. We stayed till they closed, right, at 2 o'clock in the morning. And on the drive back, there was this car that was hauling ass on the highway. He was going at least like 90 to 100 miles per hour. And he's just, going in and out of the lanes, kind of swerving around everybody. And at one point, when he was maybe 20 yards ahead of us, he went to go from the furthest left lane into the next lane over, not noticing that there was a car in that lane. So as soon as he turned into that lane and saw the car, he panicked and overcorrected and ripped the wheel back to the left, went towards the barricade, and right before he hit the barricade, he ripped it the other way. So the car went on 2 tires and then turned and went right across us. And literally, like, we were on the slowest lane, right? Because like I'm watching this happen, and like my brain just started slowing everything down because my adrenaline started pumping. So I'm watching him come this way, and I'm also watching the rear view mirror because the car behind us was hauling ass too, and they were on our ass. And I was like, well, I can't slam on the brakes because regardless, we're gonna get hit. So I had to wait till the last moment to where that car behind me started slowing down for me to kind of turn and hit the brakes, and like literally inches away from this car hitting us. It was wild, dude.
That's scary. That's super scary.
Yeah.
See, the closest I've had, at least, in recent times, to like a near-death experience, I was very young. So actually, it's happened twice. But the first time I was in Kentucky, actually, it was in Shepherdsville, and I was riding my bike, and I fell off my bike, and the handlebars backed up and then slammed into my throat, and I couldn't breathe.
Holy shit.
Like my lips turned blue and everything, and so they called like the ambulance, and luckily it wasn't like bad. I bruised it, and it potentially could have like I just basically knocked the wind out of myself.
Yeah, and then collapse your throat. Thank God.
But like it hit me hard, like to where like my lips like legitimately turned, but I could not breathe.
Holy shit.
That was scary. And then the second time, I remember being like truly sick for the first time. I was in 5th grade and I got pneumonia, and I remember sitting in class, because I was in like I went to Deaf Smith. I don't know if you know, that's cool. I don't know if you came in Wessendorf, right?
No, I came in once we were 8th grade.
7th grade?
7th, 8th grade. Yeah.
Yeah. As I remember. So with Deaf Smith, like I remember just being like curled up in like a ball and just feeling my whole body just hot. Like my whole body just felt like it was melting. And I remember laying in the nurse's office for a little bit because they're like, "Oh yeah, you don't feel good." So they took me back there, and then like I remember them being really scared. My parents being really scared because we went to the hospital after, and lo and behold, it was pneumonia. And had we not checked it like pretty soon, at that point, it could have gotten really bad to where it would have been fatal potentially, just because it was just not being like received well. It was scary. But luckily, I mean, like outside of that and the minor car accidents and potential scary things, I really haven't had anything like that happen.
Oh no, I think I have a near-death experience once a year.
I try not to.
I don't try. Like I don't try to have these experiences. It just happens, dude.
I do my best to try to like keep myself grounded on some things and just
I'm not the best at that.
I live close to my job, like in walking distance, and most of the time I'm home, so it really the threat is a lot less.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but
I don't work.
It is what it is.
I don't work far from home. I'm stupid. Let's put it that way.
No, you're not.
I'm one of those people. See, I'm still like my brain is like a child's brain, right? I don't see the danger in things all the time, right? Like the time I almost fell off the Grand Canyon, like it's just stupid shit I've done and put myself in bad situations.
I think what it was when I was younger, because the thing is, like, I've always been this way. I've always been very anxious, and like I just didn't really realize it until I was older and I knew what anxiety was. But I've always had this like fear of death, I guess, or an end, because I didn't understand it. I remember one time my parents told me, like, trying to explain it to me, like what happens in the sense of like, well, you die, like you just kind of disappear. And I remember
it's over.
I was like 6. I was like 6, just sitting outside. I was like standing outside, actually, just like yelling at the sky, like screaming, "I don't want to die. I'm so scared." Like, I was like, they're just laughing at me. They think it's hilarious, but like I was having a meltdown because that concept was just like, it was real to me, because that was something that was very unfortunate in my life growing up. There was like a good and a bad, right? Because I was very lucky to know my great grandparents and like actually live with them for a short amount of time, like my great grandparents on my mom's side. And but with that came a long line of people who passed away in my life, in my family.
Gotcha.
They were the start of it, and it kind of just escalated as it went, through that time. And I've seen it a lot, and that's part of what I guess scares me about it all.
Well, you're just there.
It's just an end. You know what I mean? Like I've always, I wouldn't say like, and we've talked about this, like I'm not really the most religious guy. I don't really I'm not super religious, especially like growing up like in the Catholic Church, being kind of not necessarily pushed on anything. Actually, like I was very lucky to have parents who were just kind of like your typical Catholics versus like, a forced, like you have to do this, you have to do that, or I'm going to disown you. Like I didn't really have like that necessarily. We went to church like every Sunday, but I don't know.
But that was about it.
I feel like they were like, they've kind of
there were Sunday
to the understanding. Yeah. I feel like they've kind of come to the understanding that I'm just not religious like that. Like they are. Yeah. And they've just kind of come to accept it. But with that being said, like I've always kind of grown up with like, I don't have that closure of like heaven, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, and like, it's always how it's been for me. And it just seems like I don't understand it, and it scares me in the sense that, like, you know, life could just end. But what scares me more, and it's not even scary, it just makes me sad, that like somebody who has so much of a story in their life, you know, they live this whole life, you know, ahead of them, and sometimes the stories aren't good, right? Sometimes they're very tragic and sad. Sometimes they're beautiful, and they just end, and it dies with them. It dies with them, you know, like
that is true.
So I guess like it's one of those things that's just it's something that's always guaranteed, right? For all of us, every single person, your favorite celebrity, your favorite musician, every single person, the guy down the street you don't really know but see every once in a while, everyone's gonna die.
Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, unless they figure out how to transfer consciousness.
And Elon Musk has actually expressed specifically he doesn't want to do that.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, no, I don't want to extend life anymore.
No. But he's trying to repopulate the world, so I mean, kudos to him.
Yeah. That man is something else. But
Bro, I love Elon Musk. No, but yeah, like it's so interesting. Like the it's not even an idea. Death is the only thing in the world that's 100% for certain. Right?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
we know this happens. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Everybody, everything.
Like
your dog, your cat, the grass, the trees,
the trees, the birds,
everything, the
everything
mushrooms,
dies.
like
yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm the opposite though, because like me being raised in a strictly Catholic family, like even the idea of heaven doesn't necessarily resonate with me. Just because like I'm fucking weird and I like to believe we came from aliens or something. I also like to believe that, you know, that we're energy, right? Like our life, our soul is energy, and I don't think energy ever
truly disappears.
Yeah, it just transfers to something else, right?
Well, if we follow, like, I think it's Newton's law, like, right, energy is neither created nor destroyed, only recycled through which is why I tend to kind of like think like, because I think we talked about this, like I don't necessarily believe in like God in the sense of like the Catholic Church. If that makes sense, like, oh, you have to do things this way, and this way. I believe it more in the spiritual sense of like, I think there's
a higher power.
It's got to be. It doesn't really make a lot of sense for it not to be. And whether that higher power is sentient or if it's just something that just happens to happen in the world, you know what I mean, by chance, it's still something cosmic and above us. Really hard to comprehend and understand. But like, I hope when that day comes, like I get to see the people that are gone. Get to share stories. Like, you know, like I hope that's what it is at the end of it all. Same. I don't know if that's what it is, but like, you know, I we haven't really talked about this in the podcast. But one of the reasons I haven't really been on, I'm still kind of like dealing with it, I guess, because I've been having like trouble, and this is kind of off and on. It really kind of comes in waves. But I lost my grandmother about 2 months ago now. It was right before I got my my new job. And it's been hard, you know, because she was just a pivotal part of my life. Some people aren't close with their grandparents. I was. Like all of my grandparents, like my papa, my mima, like my grandmother, not my grandfather on my mom's side, because he didn't really grow up with us. He kind of came later, and you know, he wasn't really around. But you know, when she got sick, you know, it just, there was a point when she got sick the first time with cancer, because she had it on her skin here, like in her cheek and stuff, and we noticed it and told her to get checked out. And she just she was stubborn, little stubborn lady, sweet as can be, but stubborn, right? But at that time I was like, no way, she's strong, she'll beat that, no problem. But the next time it came, it was the second time, it wasn't far after that, when I found out what it was and the type of cancer it was. Like I knew where it was going, and that my grandmother wouldn't be here, definitely not by Christmas. You know, I didn't think it would come as fast as it did, but I just remember kind of like, because it's been a long time since like I've lost somebody slowly, right?
Mhm.
My grandfather passed away in 2011, I believe. It's like 2010, 2011. And, you know, I was absent in my mind for a lot of it. I couldn't bear to see my grandfather sick because like I couldn't imagine that such a strong man would just get beaten over the head with brain cancer, you know,
Oh,
legitimately.
shit.
And it was scary, and to see him in a state that he was in, because brain cancer just does shit to you.
Mhm.
It just was hard for me. Like there was a point where I was like, I could do it. I'm strong. Like, and everybody thinks that, right? When you're doing it, you're like, oh, I could go and see this person. Like I'm gonna be there for them. And then you walk in, and you're just like,
It
no.
just hits you. Yeah.
You just crumple. You crumple, and you
No.
crumple, and you just like I left. I had to leave the room, and
Mhm.
I remember that being really hard. And so like I didn't want to do that for my grandmother, and I was here.
Okay.
So when I knew she was sick, the Doge Palooza actually. I was going to go to that, and instead I chose to go and visit my grandmother because I knew she was sick.
Yeah.
And you know, I thank God every day that I did that, because the next week she fell, and then from there, by 2 weeks from there, she was nonverbal, and then I think a week from there she was gone.
Wow. It's
So
almost
it
like she
happened like,
held on
yeah.
for you to go see her.
And it was like one of the saddest parts about it all too is we were having ice cream because we had bought some ice cream for her, and she wasn't really eating. Everything kind of tasted bad except for Coca-Cola because she loved Cokes, and like a little bit of like ice cream. And I remember hugging her and kind of just knowing
That
where
was the
things were
last
going.
time.
Yeah. And so I hugged her like extra tight.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think she knew as well, because like she was not a hugger, if that makes sense. Like we hug, but like she was Midwest. She's from Indiana, you know what I mean? She was
Okay.
born and raised there. And so like she wasn't much of like a hugger, like,
Okay.
but she hugged me super tight. And like I said, I thank God for that week I got to see her, because had I not taken that chance, I think I would have missed out on an opportunity to do so, because like I said, like within like a week she was already sick.
Wow.
And gone, and like she was not, and then by like I think like 2 weeks she was like nonverbal. Like you weren't able to talk to her. She would just kind of like groan, and yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
So when she
Sorry to hear
passed,
that, man.
it's okay. I mean, when she passed, like so it was funny, the difference in like the way personalities kind of deem a funeral. I don't know if this is too personal, but my papa's funeral was huge. People love that man. That man was hard as a rock. Like just think old hard guy, grew up in a dirt poor at a farm, and then eventually built his way up through like carpet sales. That's who he was.
Yeah.
Like this dude could literally grab a wasp nest and crunch it up in his hands, and would just like pull out the stingers, pull the stingers out of his fingers. Like they do the strongest.
He was
Strongest,
gangster, huh?
very well respected within the people that with the people that knew him. So his funeral was huge. And my Meemaw's funeral, she was a very quiet lady, a lot more reserved than my grandfather was.
Okay.
And it was just quiet. It was just family. And it was beautiful at the same time. Like both of them were beautiful, just in different ways. It was hard. It was one of the hardest things to like see her just not there anymore, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you kind of like know, but like it was real. And like when you look at it and you're just kind of like,
it always
couldn't.
hits more once you see
Yeah.
them laying.
I was trying to hold together. I was just sitting there like in tears, like pretty much the whole time. And I really haven't been the same since, to be honest with you.
Do you feel like a little part of you?
I think a little bit went with her. Yeah. And I think that's normal. I hope it's normal.
Yeah.
Because it's I miss her like a lot, and there are things that I think like I'll always like cherish, if that makes sense, and like appreciate. But like knowing she's gone, and just not being able to call her, check up on her, and see how she was doing, and like, you know, they tell you all the time, like your parents tell you this, people that love your aunts, your uncles, they'll tell you, you know, like, hey, you call me more, like, you know, you just never know, and you really don't, and sometimes you miss those calls, and you just crave them. You crave them. You know, it's all I want is a call from her. Like, and I can't get that anymore. So that's hard. But I'm sure she would be proud of me. She found out that I before she went like fully nonverbal that I was moving back home. And she said she was really proud. I didn't hear it, but it was like it made me feel really nice. Yeah. It felt really nice. It felt good knowing she knew. And I think she felt more comfortable knowing that, like, and was like more like at ease.
Yeah.
That I was gonna be there with the family. But it was, you know, that's not the hard. I guess that's the hard part. But people don't tell you about what happens after.
Yeah.
And like what makes it harder, especially when you're older. Like the splitting of things, how things are moved through like a will, and how this whole process works. And it's a scary process.
Yeah.
Not to mention like their house is on the market officially, and it's just so disheartening.
Yeah,
because it's just the end of it. It's the end of it,
right?
Yeah, it's the end of an era. You know what I mean? Like, and it's the closing of a chapter, which is beautiful, like in a way, right? But it just it's real.
The crazy part about the end of a chapter is a new chapter starts.
Yeah,
right?
And I think that's kind of where I've been. I'm in this process of just moving on to an understanding that, you know, I'm older, I'm more seasoned, and a lot's happening that's good in my life. Like I got a new job, like, and I get to move home finally. Like there are a lot of good things happening.
Yeah.
But it's just like that is the new chapter. And I need to keep looking forward instead of keep reading back and like looking back at those things.
There's no problem with looking back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, looking back will always build you for the future. You know, you can't have the next chapter without the chapter before.
Yeah.
Like even a book, there's always an introduction. So you gotta have that chapter prior. It's what makes you. It's what makes your family. It's what kind of cuts the path for you. You know, in a way, because you see how much of a connection you have with your grandparents, and I'm sure now you hope that you have that connection with your family. Once you have kids, you have that connection with your kids, with your grandkids in the future. Like, I'm sure it puts some perspective into your mind.
Yeah, it's definitely brought more things to light in terms of what I want, and what I want to pay attention to, what my values, what I want to focus on, and who I want to focus on those things with. Like those are important to me more now than they like have been, and I don't think that's going away. I think those will continue to be like important pieces to this whole thing. Granted, you know, like I said, some good stuff did come out of it. We got some really cool like memories, and I get to keep some of her records. I was able to get a hold. I get it because I've never talked about it like publicly, but she used to sing. She was a singer when she was younger, and she was trying to make it, you know. And her and her dad both have records of like that have been cut that I'm gonna try to get restored.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to get them restored. But she sang with Elvis before he was famous.
Wow,
so cool,
that's so cool.
Yeah. She said he was really nice.
Cool. Yeah.
So she remembers him being a very nice guy. But yeah, she sang with Elvis like when he was like doing his tours in Texas before like he blew up. Like so that's like a random thing.
Bro, that's so cool. That's gonna be really cool if you can get those things restored.
Well, she hasn't, and I don't know where it is or who took it or whatever, because it all got split. But she has a autograph that Elvis had done for her that says "Until Midnight." Elvis doesn't have like her name or anything, but she has like a couple of them that he drew in pencil.
Oh, that's so cool.
So just kind of
that is
cool
really cool.
Thing.
That's really, really cool. I really hope you can get those records restored.
I hope so too. Apparently they're pretty rough.
Are they?
Yeah, they're like orange, like almost clear. Like they're gonna take some time to like work on, but I think we can get them somewhat restored. And then my goal is to get them digitized so I can put them and share them with my family.
And pass them down too.
Yeah, so that they can hear like their great grandfather and then their grandmother, like it's songs that they've done.
Yeah,
I think
that
so.
would be so cool.
But yeah, I mean that's why I really haven't been like around, I guess, if that makes sense, when it comes to all of that. It kind of killed a lot of like the momentum that I was wanting to build with this whole thing. And
well, it's not all you, buddy. Like I want you to know that, like, when this happened, you know, I knew you were gonna need time off.
Yeah.
And you can even ask Alan. Like, when this happened, I told him, I was like, okay, I need to figure out what we're gonna do in your absence.
Yeah.
Like I instantly, like, I knew you needed the time because I know you. Like, we've been friends for a while. We've done this for over a year now together. So like I knew like Kyle's gonna need some time. Let's let him do his thing. We can keep the momentum going. And honestly, we did a pretty good job at holding it down while you were on leave. Mm-hmm. Like we interviewed a bunch of artists. You popped in here and there when you could.
Yeah.
You know, we did great. We did an excellent job post Dojapalooza. But and then, you know, our birthdays came around and we had to take time off.
Yeah.
You know, after killing it for so long, like back to back to back to back, it just, I like, honestly, I think for the weekly D, what I want to do in the future, like starting next year, is we do 3 months on, 1 month off. 3 months on,
seasons.
1 month, yeah, or 2 months on, 1 month off. You know, that way we can pace ourselves. One, we can record enough to hold down for the year, and also, you know, because life is happening. Like we said at the beginning, we've all been dealing with shit. You know, I have a wedding coming up. I'm on the market for a new job. Like I got family shit going on. Like you with your grandma last year, I unfortunately have to deal right now with my grandpa. He's 98 years old and he just got diagnosed with prostate cancer or colon cancer. And he's at the point where they just said, you know, it's terminal. There's nothing we can do. He's too old to treat it.
Yeah.
So like I'm dealing with that and hoping that he makes it till after the wedding. Yeah. Because right now all my money's tied into the wedding, so I can't pick up and fly out.
Yeah.
So I'm
sorry to hear that.
It's okay. Like honestly, I'm very different with death. Like to me, because I know death is a for sure thing. Also a while back, I had a really crazy trip on mushrooms where I personally had an experience with death itself. Like in my because I was in such a bad headspace. Like at the time that I did them, like I was in really bad headspace. Like I was super depressed, and I don't know. It was just like a life-changing thing when I did that mushroom trip. And like I remember, I was in the middle of Calfield doing mushrooms with some friends from like school, and like I took them. I'm like, I don't know why. I all of a sudden got sleepy and I just sat down we were in the cow field, so I just laid down and like I apparently fell asleep, and when I woke up, like I couldn't get up. I was in sleep paralysis. I was seeing like all sorts of like fucked up shit, like demons and stuff. And it was so weird because a hand stretched out to me, and it was like a skeleton hand, and there was a person in a cloak, and they picked me up. You know, they said. And I just remember like it was death. Like I was staring at death in its face. Well, not in its face because I couldn't see it. But it picked me up, and I just remember like I had a weird sense of relief. Like because like at that moment, that trip told me, you know, death is here, death is around you, but death isn't something we should fear. Like it just like it was weird because I had like a whole conversation with death at that moment. Where like he was telling me, you know, you gotta live life to the fullest because the only thing that's guaranteed in life is death. Like people will come, they'll go, but you can't ever stop living life. Which I don't know. Like I said, I was in such a bad headspace, but that trip really changed my perspective on life itself and on death itself. Where I lost my fear of death because I knew no matter what I do, I can live the safest way. I can live the most reckless way. One day I'm gonna die. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And I don't know if I necessarily fear death anymore, if that makes sense. Like I've come to accept that's just something that's gonna happen. what it's not what I fear necessarily. It's what I
What you don't know, or
yeah, and it's not even a fear of the unknown. It's just seeing somebody just be gone
yeah,
is hard because it's
yeah,
just like I hope they're in a good place. I
yeah,
truly hope it's just not nothing for them, you know. And if it becomes nothing for me, like I won't know. It's not like
yeah,
I'll know like that'll be what it is.
yeah,
I just hope that they are in a place at peace, and I hope what they hope for, like especially religious people who like hope for a heaven
they
and
get
hope
it.
for like this life that they get what they want. You know,
Yeah,
somebody who misses their loved one when they pass. Like my mom missed my grandfather so much so that there was points where she was ready to go years ago.
yeah,
So I hope that they're like I'm
united.
at I had like it wasn't a dream necessarily, but like one of those daydreams where I was just kind of out of it, where I could like see them in my head, just kind of like they weren't young necessarily, but they were like when I like from like I would think the 90s, where they're like in their like 50s, and they're kind of just like doing their thing, and they're just dancing, listening to like their song that they did for their 50th like their anniversary, which was "Look at Us" by Vince Gill, and that song just hits way different now. I love that song. It's one of my favorite songs like ever. But that song hits way different now
Yeah,
because of the context. Because it was also the last song before we took my Mimo to the funeral, like to the actual funeral site. So that's like it was like the last song before we like, kind of closed everything up and
yeah,
got it ready.
yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is sad thinking about like their life is ending, and I had a weird conversation about this because like well not just with my grandpa, because like I didn't want to talk about dying with my grandpa, right? But I just like I get to talk to him every now and then over FaceTime. Like that's the only communication I've had with him.
He's still in California?
No, he's in Mexico.
Oh, he's in Mexico.
Yeah, so like the only communication he's seen me grow up literally through a fucking phone, like the past 10 years. You know, we just FaceTime or use WhatsApp or just Zoom or whatever. But like I was talking to him and I was like, you know, dude, like, do you regret how you lived your life? Because to me, like, that's one thing. Like, I want to live my life with no regrets. Like the day I die, whether it be tomorrow, whether it be years from now, like I just want to know I did everything that fulfilled me and everything that made me happy. And like I was talking to him about, I was like, "Do you have any regrets?" And he's like, you know, when I was younger, I had regrets. I had regrets that I didn't do things. But he's like, but as I got older, I realized that because I didn't do those things, I did other things that really fulfilled me. And like, it was really, really emotional to talk to him like about just his life because he had such a hard life, but he created such a great thing for his children. You know, he grew a happy. He lived a very happy life, and you know, and he was telling me, you know, how he loved that he got to meet all his grandchildren. Like he lived his term and he's happy with what he's lived. You know, I mean we haven't told him he has cancer. Like we're keeping
he doesn't know.
He doesn't know. So we're just trying to make him comfortable now and just you know, I try to talk to him and get as much as I can out of him.
I mean, he's also they're probably like he's also 98 too. Like in that whole they probably had the whole conversation of like there's a good chance like something else will like he'll end up dying of old age or something will happen before cancer like actually takes its like.
I think he knows. Like I don't think he knows he has cancer, but I think he knows that he's lived his life.
And that it's coming to an end.
Yeah. So that kind of puts me at peace, right? Like knowing that he's at peace with leaving this earth. Like he feels fulfilled.
Isn't it interesting when that happens?
Yeah, like it's such a trip.
Like some people like aren't ready, right? And you could tell when they're not ready because they're scared. Like, but it was kind of the same with like it was kind of the same with my grandmother. Like she just stopped eating. Like she wasn't hungry. She didn't want it. And she let herself kind of like degrade. Like part of me thought like as soon as she stopped eating, I was like, she's doing it on purpose. Like part of me was like, it's not her body's telling her it's time. And like her mind was also being like, okay, like I know. Like I think she like knew it was time. Like she was just like, it's getting close. Like let me just make it easy on me and just stop eating.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I think the body will tell you. I think you'll know. I don't know. I thought bodies, like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but sometimes I feel like your like body, the way that it does its thing, it always keeps you on tabs of what's going on in your life. Like, you got an ache, check on it. You got like, you notice something different with your skin, go check on it. Like, like
your
body's gonna always tell you if something's off.
Yeah.
Like,
Which is one of those things that I feel like meditation helps a lot with. That is that because meditating is letting your body tell you what's going on with it, right? It's clearing your mind and just feeling earth, feeling yourself with earth. So I don't know. That's one of the reasons why I always tell people or ask people, do you meditate or do you do something to, a form of meditation? Because I firmly do believe that that's like you connecting with the universe and the universe telling you, hey, like this is happening, or you'll feel it. Your body will feel it. The earth will tell you. It's kind of I don't know how to explain it, but it's like a weird.
There's a second. It's like a sixth sense.
Yeah.
Like truthfully, like there is like, I know that's like a horror movie, but that's like, there actually is like legitimately like an extra sense you have that you don't pay attention to, but it's like there.
Yeah.
That sounds like a puppy.
Yeah. I gotta take a piss real quick. You don't mind if we take a real quick break?
Yeah, and then we can jump onto something a little bit. It's like still sad, but a little more fun.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All right, I'll be back. Record. And we're back.
We cried a lot, like on the side, so we were definitely having a sad moment.
We had to wipe some tears away. But
it's cool.
Before we keep going, huge shout out to our new followers, the real non-stick and Raven. We appreciate y'all for following.
I can't believe it's not butter, baby.
I can't believe it's not Teflon.
And also shout out to Raven as well. One of my favorite Teen Titans. It's pretty sick. Welcome to the Twitch family. We do these just so you guys know. Well, we try to do them weekly. It's a little harder than you think it has been lately, but we're going to do our best to continue to try to keep the content flowing and going.
Exactly.
Podcast format for Twitch, still kind of new from what I can tell.
We're still figuring it out.
I see a lot of people doing like the whole podcast thing on Twitch and like running it because it's kind of like a once a week thing, not a daily thing. But like, I think it's better this way.
Yeah.
And we get to put clips out after it, and it's more fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So thank you. Welcome to the D fam.
Thank you for us listening to ramble and be sad about things.
Thank you for joining the Sad Boy podcast on Kyle's return.
I'm back, baby. But yeah, so we were talking about sad things, right? And one thing that's always resonated with me, like whether it be a faux breakup about like a girl that I thought I was interested in, and they were like, I don't think I like you. I think we're better as friends. You're just my best friend. And I'm just sitting there listening to Rascal Flatts for like, 45 minutes, just on repeat, this fucking sad songs. And you're just like, why? Why can't they love me? You remember those, like, remember the high school days? I don't know. That's how I was. I was fucking pitiful in high school.
Yeah. High school was rough.
Whether it be a love song or like a fucking pain song, it was always Rascal Flatts for some reason though.
Rascal Flatts.
Yeah, Rascal Flatts specifically.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Yeah.
Did you listen to Life is a Highway?
There's a funny story with that I'll have to tell you at some point. I don't think I've ever told anybody it, but I'll have to tell you that at some point off camera. It is a very, very interesting story. But mostly it would be like I would listen to like My Wish, like when I was happy. My wish for you. Let me see if I can find a couple more. I forgot like a lot of them already.
After this episode, I'll make a playlist of all the songs we talk about.
Yeah.
Make it public, and then y'all can go listen to it. Link will be in the bio.
Yep. But
yeah. Alan, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. It's just like y'all started talking, and I was like, I'm not butting in.
Goddamn, Alan, I asked you a question. I said, well, Kyle,
I know, and I was going to answer, and then y'all kept rambling on. And I was like, goddamn, can a boy answer the question?
Oh, answer the question, goddammit.
I have quite a few.
Really?
Yeah, there's quite a few. Not that I can remember all of them off the top of my head, because I used to actually have a playlist that's called like My Darkest Days. It was like nothing but like sad songs.
Damn. That's
Was
depressing.
Yeah, and what's
was
crazy?
one of the
What's
band's
crazy
My
though?
Darkest Days.
Kind of. It was one of them. But it was kind of like just I named the playlist that because it was one of those like when I was going through like a depressive state, those were all the songs that I was listening to. And
Gotcha.
eventually it actually, when I used to go to the gym a lot, it turned into a workout playlist. It was kind of weird how some of the
Makes
songs
sense.
that I used to listen to back then that were sad
They're great
don't
motivators.
really seem so sad anymore. Now they just, to me, they sound like classics. Maybe it's just
How
me
it
getting
goes.
old. Maybe I'm just
That's
getting
how it
old.
goes. But I kind of like it. I appreciate it though. I kind of like it at the same time. Like it just
Yeah,
happens.
there's one song. I'm trying to see if I remember it. Remember the name. Radically louder.
So Christopher.
Yeah,
Crystal Bell?
louder. Louder
Oh.
than Thunder by The Devil Wears Prada. That's a
Oh
sad song.
damn. Okay. Okay.
Good song.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Nice. Crystal Bell's
That
excited about our Sad Boy podcast. I mean, our
Has he
Sad
been?
Boy playlist.
He's not gonna know any of these because it's gonna mostly fucking
And then
like.
of course
It's not jazz or metal.
of course there's what is it? Is it Need a Beer? Drink a Beer?
Drink a beer.
Yeah, by Luke Bryan. Yeah, Drink a Beer.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That song is sad. 100%. Are you adding that? Is that going to be one of yours on your list?
No, you can't. I wouldn't say songs that you're put on your list and someone can steal. Just so you know.
Okay. So do I have to write this down?
So is
No.
anything Suicide Boys like off the table?
I mean,
No. I mean, if it's
Because
sad to
every single one of their songs is kind of depressing.
why don't we gauge it by the listeners too? They can listen to the songs and then kind of see if like they can give us a winner on who had the saddest songs.
right?
Shit, dude.
What are
should
your
do
thoughts on
that.
that?
We should do that.
Fuck
I wonder
yeah.
if I still have that playlist actually.
Hells yeah. All right.
Oh,
Well, y'all think of sad songs. I feel like this is really boring for people watching right now. So
okay. Yeah. So I can come up with my first one.
Okay, hold on. We gotta sing a song. Hey, what's up, D-Fam? Take a quick break. Let me tell you about our good friends at Honeysuckle Brand. Honeysuckle is a hemp retailer serving the Houston area. Whether you are looking for some CBD to calm your nerves or a little Delta 8 to wind down, Honeysuckle has something for you. They offer a wide variety of products, including pre-rolls, different iterations of gummies, and my personal favorite, the water-soluble nectar that can turn any ordinary drink to an extraordinary drink. So don't just take it from us. Go online or visit them in person at the Railway Heights Market, 8200 Washington Avenue, Houston, Texas 77007. Get you some Honeysuckle products and let them put a smile on your face. D-Fam, before we move on, let's talk balls, because they stink. But don't worry, our friends at Ballsy got your sack. Ballsy is a men's grooming company that's bringing you products that are uniquely formulated to keep your junk clean and smelling good no matter how hot it is outside. Not only will it make you feel good, it's also good for you because Ballsy uses no bullshit ingredients to keep it all natural. So go to www.ballwash.com and get your hands on Ballsy's sack pack that comes with all the essentials to elevate your ball game, including Ballsy's one-of-a-kind ball wash, their sack spray to keep you fresh in between heavy activity, and their nut rub solid cologne. And for a limited time, Ballsy is offering our listeners an exclusive discount code. So go to ballsy.com and get you the sack pack and enter promo code TWD15 for 15% off your first purchase. Thank you. Now let's get back to the show. Because it's a sad boy draft. We gotta make a song.
Do I have to sing the song?
Yeah, make it up on the fly. Sad boy draft.
When you're feeling down or when you're feeling frisky, go ahead and sing because we're pretty fucking nifty. We're singing about sad songs, that's what we're feeling. Making up shit, I don't know. Here's the sad song draft.
The sad song draft.
All right,
it's a sad song draft. We are doing a snake draft. So I will conduct the draft to make sure we all pick 5, okay? We will be picking 5. There's no repeats. So anything you said before this can and will be stolen.
Yes. So I'm
All
assuming
right.
I go first, right?
All right. So yeah, Kyle, you're gonna go first.
So my first song is "Sitting Sideways" by Paul Wall. I'm just
What?
kidding. I'm just kidding. My first song is it's a song called "Holes in the Floor of Heaven." It's by Steve Wariner, and it came in the early '90s, and the song is a sad song, particularly because it kind of talks about loss, in general, in just 3 different scenarios. So like the Steve Wariner, if you don't like country music, like just generally speaking, is like a genius when it comes to songwriting and the way that he actually like puts a story to like a song. But with "Holes in the Floor of Heaven" in particular, like one of the ones that resonates personally with me is the loss of my grandmother on my mom's side, and it talks about like being like her basically kind of like not being there for their first birthday and being sad, and it's like, oh, don't worry, like grandma's watching you, like because there's holes in the floor of heaven, and like they're like looking down upon you like through like the holes and stuff like that, just checking up on you. It's really sad. Beautiful song though.
Okay, that's a great choice. Okay, Alan, you are next.
Song I've gotten first off is "Gone Away" by Five Finger Death Punch. I was basically talking about I guess the singer. I don't know if they actually wrote it or if it's a cover, but it's pretty much them kind of mourning like a friend that they lost or a significant other, and hoping that one day they'll see him again, whether it's heaven or some other destination, I guess.
Okay.
It's a good song.
That's a really good one. Okay, I guess my first one is gonna be, what was the name of it? It's gonna be "Suicidal Thoughts" by the Notorious B.I.G.
That is a sad song.
That is one of the darkest songs ever.
It is, and it's a good song. I really like that song.
It's beautifully made by probably one of the best wordsmiths of his day. I mean, I don't know, it hits different. Just because Biggie was such a good storyteller that when you hear that song, like you hear his pain, and it really resonates. I mean, at the end of the song, he offs himself, but it hits so hard, dude. Like especially as a kid that grew up in a rough neighborhood at the early ages of his life, like it really resonated with me. So our first pick's gonna be "Suicidal Thoughts" by the Notorious B.I.G.
Okay. So that would be me next.
No, it'd be
how's
me.
How's the snake draft?
So it's a snake draft,
back, right?
Yes, so it'd be me again. My next song is gonna be "Hurt" by Johnny Cash.
I hurt myself
because that's one of the few songs that made me cry the first time I ever
That's a
heard
beautiful song.
It really
To
is.
see if I still feel.
Yeah, that song really it stirs the emotions in me every time I hear it. Specifically his version, because I know there's 2 other versions of it, but Johnny Cash's, you feel the pain because he sang that song at a moment where he had lost everything already. Like it was the end of his career. He had lost everything due to partying and drugs, and you really feel the fucking pain in his soul.
I get that. That's a good one. That's a good song.
All right, Alan, you're next.
So the main part that resonates with me on this song is mainly the intro. It's called "The Call" by Matt Keenan. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. And at the beginning, it's basically describing a guy like sitting in his Chevy out in the middle of nowhere, ready to shoot himself, and then just as he's about to pull the trigger, a friend of his calls him and says, "I miss you. Let's hang out." And he decides not to take his life.
What is the name of that song again?
That is
The Call.
The Call by Matt.
It shows different. Yeah, it shows different perspectives. The intro is about a guy about to kill himself, and his buddy calls him, and
I've heard that. Yes,
that
I know
keeps
what
him
song.
from doing it. Yeah,
that's a really good song.
intro. Yeah, that was the intro.
That's a really good song. Okay, I have heard that song and really like that song. Okay, so that'll be me next. So this song, I said it was gonna be all country. It's not gonna be all country because I forgot about this song. But it's actually a new song that came out like earlier this year, and it's by an artist by the name of India Parkman, and it's called Brighter Groom. And if you've been on TikTok, you probably heard it pop through. And it's a song about being at a wedding of somebody that you had been in love with and seeing them be married to another person and just kind of having to be okay with it. Like that's something. Yeah, and it's not something like I personally resonate with because I'm very happy in my relationship, but like it's one of those songs that you can see from the perspective of somebody who had to go through that, and you're just like, ouch.
Who sings it?
It's a girl by the name of India Parkman.
India Parkman. Okay.
Yeah, like she wrote it. She's done like the things for it. Doesn't have like a ton of like. It's got it's got more listeners now, but like it's not like a giant song. But if you get a chance to listen to it, like you can hear it from like the perspective. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful song.
Okay, I'll definitely look into it.
Yeah.
Again, we're gonna make a playlist for anyone who wants to hear these songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll be available the day this episode drops. All right, Kyle, you go again, buddy.
The next one is Baby Blue by George Strait.
Okay.
Mostly based around the fact that he wrote that song for his daughter who had passed away in a car crash. And I just think it's one of those songs that when you listen to it, it resonates because especially as you get older, because just imagining losing like a loved one and like having to kind of go through that trauma is very difficult. And not to mention it's George fucking Strait.
Yeah, so you know it's a good one.
It's gonna be quality.
All right, Alan, you're next.
I have so fucking many. Trying to decide whether I want this one or the other one first. But I guess I'll go with this one. It's Paranoid by I Prevail.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Good song.
Yeah. Well, the way I take it is that the paranoia is actually just like trying to run away from like the depression and everything and can't really get over it, can't get away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of, you know, how sometimes you're enveloped into that darkness and you just feel like you're going crazy.
Yeah, I feel that. Damn, that's a really good one.
Killing it so far, Alan.
Yeah, what the fuck, Alan?
I'm a sad boy, dude. I'm a sad boy.
Hey, what was the name of the song again?
Paranoid by Prevail.
All right. So it's my turn?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna go with Olvídame, Ignórame by fuck, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but it's literally one of the best breakup songs ever. It's by Julián Álvarez. Olvídame by Julián Álvarez.
Olvídame. What's the basis of the song?
It's a heartbreak song. Like it's his girl left him, and he's just singing, you know, forget me, like don't think about me, ignore me, like I don't want you anywhere near me anymore. I think the backstory is that his girl cheats on him, so he's like, olvídame, ignórame, like he doesn't want her anywhere near him anymore because she broke his heart. It's a really, really sad like heartbreak song, and it hits extra hard at like 2 a.m. after a couple beers. So that's gonna be my next choice. And I had to throw in some Spanish songs. And I guess I go again. My other choice is gonna be Que Maldición by Banda MS featuring Snoop Dogg. It's a banda song also. It's a heartbreak song. Yeah, that one hits. I used to always tell my fiance, like, if she ever broke up with me, that's the song I'll be singing at the club at the top of my lungs.
Fair enough. They're
just really good, like, songs to just drink to and cry to, you know? It's like La Puerta Negra is a really good one too, but I'm not gonna put that one on my list.
Volver, volver, volver. I could drink to volver.
I'm pretty sure everyone can.
Okay, who's next?
Alan, you're next.
Next, I'm trying to find like my other song. How many do I have so far?
You have 2 more.
I have 2 more.
And then I have 2 more.
Fuck it. I guess I'm just gonna go with the 2 that I already have picked out. Then, the next one. So it is Breakdown by Prevail.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going back to thinking too much, and kind of like when you look yourself in the mirror, how you see like how hopeless you feel, and you get to the point to where you're dealing with, like, the way I take it is like the depression and everything, and then you actually seek help. They give you medication, but it doesn't help, and you just feel like you're falling apart.
I like that.
Yeah, you see.
I don't like it. Sad, but like, I'm glad we're gonna have a playlist for these songs. That's if we want to get real sad.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I'll make a playlist of these songs. That's why I had to throw some Spanish ones in there, right?
I get that.
Like, you gotta throw at least one, sprinkle one in there.
I get that.
I get fucking Danny over here
Keep
like
Paul Wall sitting
I had to throw
Just
some
keep
more
Paul
ones.
Wall sitting sideways in there.
This one's not on my list, and I forget
Oh,
who
hold
actually
on.
sings
I fucked
it.
up, but let's hold honorable mentions to the end, like songs
Okay.
that we could have put on our list.
Okay.
Well,
Who's
I
up
wasn't
next?
gonna put it on the list anyway, but okay, that's fine.
That's what I'm saying. Let's just hold it till the end, because what if someone else
I-
is gonna throw it on their list?
I doubt it, but okay.
All right. Who's next?
Kyle.
Is it me? Okay. So the next one that I would say is on my list for sure is Cole Swindell's Dad's Old Number.
Ooh.
And have you heard that song? And it's the song. It's basically, so to put it, it's a synopsis. Basically, it's about a guy who basically calls the number of some guy. Realistically, it's his dad's old number, and he kind of was just like, "Hey, like, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting." And like the song's basically about him being like, "I might call you if like late at night if I have if I need something," like thinking like because he's thinking that his dad's gonna be on the other line, but his dad's passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a super like great. It's a beautiful song, but it's a great song. It's also very sad. And then my last song that I can think of that's like super super sad, especially because it resonates personally with me, is The House That Built Me.
House That Built Me.
It's by let me you know they say you can't come home again, but I just had to try one last time. It's by Miranda Lambert.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Right now that I heard you sing the lyrics, I was like,
Yeah.
this sounds familiar. Okay.
It's basically a song about like going back to a place that at this point is no longer somewhere that you are familiar with. You're a stranger in that location now, but at the same time, like this place, this house that you grew up in and made so many memories on is still something that you find very nostalgic and something that you miss very much. And seeing it, even if somebody else is living a life there and making memories there and having something new happen, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an excellent choice.
And that would be my last one.
Okay, Alan, you're next.
Let Me Be Sad by Prevail.
Damn, you love Prevail, don't you?
Actually,
also
like
happy,
what
bro.
these songs, all these songs that I'm naming are actually from the same album. So this one's speaking about kind of like being in the sadness, and you know how, in my interpretation is, you're sad and you have your friends that are trying to give you like the little pick me up and stuff, but sometimes there's moments where you're in that depressive state and it's like you're not going to break, but you kind of want to be in that moment. Like, let me be sad. Let me take a break. Let me like release all this grief that's inside of me. And that's how I take it. It's kind of like, give me my space. Just let me do me kind of thing.
Okay. It's a really good one.
Don't judge me, Chris.
It's a really, really good one. All right. For my last sad boy song, I'm going to choose Scars by Papa Roach.
Ooh.
Good song.
I tear myself open, sew myself shut. Yeah, that one.
I get too much. And
Yeah.
scars remind us past is real.
Trying to fucking remember.
Beautiful song.
Great song. Great sad boy song. I used to play that shit in the midst of my depression. I'd just be rocking around a room, fucking drinking a bottle of tequila, just like I am now. Hey, thank you guys for listening so much. We had so much fun doing this Sad Boy podcast. We hope you like our Sad Boy playlist, our Sad Boy list. Link to the actual list will be in the description below. Thank you, Kyle, for coming through. Thank you, Pudgy Jesus, for sending us your suggestions. Thank you, Peppa Pig, aka AOZ, for tuning in and joining us as well. Thank you to all the listeners. We love all y'all motherfuckers. Peace.